Welcome back to another edition of Bold Blind Beauty on Air, the show that's clearing the air for more air, access, inclusion, and representation. My name is Stephanie McCoy, and with me are my co-hosts.
I'm Dana Hinnett.
I'm Nesreen Buddha.
And this is Sylvia Stenson Perez.
Welcome to Finding Joy in Challenging Times. Life is a constant ebb and flow of happiness and suffering, pleasure and pain, joyfulness and sadness. We all know that sometimes joy feels just out of reach, especially when life throws us curveballs. You may have even noticed that this year our publication schedule was off. Code for we've been going through some stuff. In this podcast, we're here to explore how to find joy, build resilience, and spark a little light even in the toughest moments. As we navigate this storm of life together, remember, we are all in the same storm, but we are not all in the same boat. The storm is life, and the boat is your story. Your story is unique, and so are the challenges you face. In today's episode, we'll share uplifting stories, practical tips, and tackle those big questions that help us reconnect with what truly makes us happy. And don't worry, we're keeping it real, relatable, and fun. Join us on this journey as we discover how to embrace joy amidst the challenges. So with that, I'm going to pose our first question to Sylvia. Sylvia, what are your go-to connection activities or groups that help you gain perspective and experience joy?
Hi, Steph and everyone. I have to say that this is a pretty fun question because we just spent the last hour planning and prepping for this podcast, which brought us all great joy and fun. And so my Bold Blind Beauty on Air sisters bring me great joy. I think, Steph, you alluded to that so many people, including us, have been going through some really difficult times lately. I would just say the past several years, but we've all gone through stuff, and we know so many people going through some hard times. And life is challenging, just like you said, it's just full of storms. And I have learned that the most important thing for me is connection to people who care about me, who encourage me, who support me, who motivate me, who are just there. And I think that's just a powerful thing, is finding your tribe. And I feel like I'm super fortunate to have family and wonderful friends that really do enable me to have that connection piece is so important.
I couldn't agree more, Sylvia. And one thing comes to mind when you were talking about connection, and that is recently a friend of ours experienced a great tragedy. Mm-hmm. And this particular friend is someone in the community who people look up to as a resilient person, a mm-hmm. strong person, a very kind person. As a matter of fact, I go so far as to say she's one of the kindest people on the planet. And yep. Even through this unimaginable experience, she is still lifting other people up.
Yeah. And I think that's an important thing to do, is that is a way to find joy, is to be able to lift other people up even when you're going through your stuff and hard times.
You guys are right, Sylvia and Steph. Everyone is definitely going through something these days, and just to find a little smidgen of joy, that really can help lift up a lot of spirits. Dana, what's one small thing that recently has brought you unexpected joy, would you say?
The one that comes to mind is a girlfriend of mine that called me a couple of weeks ago, and we've known each other since we were 12. So when she called me, I was like, she always calls me, when she reaches out to me, we act like we're 12 years old again because we're going back over old memories and just laughter. And that just, anytime we can reminisce about some of the things growing up through our elementary, middle school, high school, and college, and now that her daughter is in the same middle school that we both went to and sharing some of those memories, it just made me smile and laugh. I'm always going to get a laugh from her, and we're always going to get a laugh from one another. And that just that brings me joy.
That's really great. It's always good to hang around or be associated with people that uplift you. Recently, I've been remembering a lot of my childhood as well, too, only because it did give me a lot of joy back then. And things are so simplified back then. There was none of this, technology and social media. We had more time to do simple things such as just play outside, be with friends, be with nature, explore our neighborhoods. People don't have that innocent play anymore. I don't think they understand what play is without having themselves tethered to some type of technology or some app or something. So for me, going back to when I was growing up, it was like the best time. And that brings me joy when I think of those memories like you're talking about, Dana. So that makes me laugh too. So
yep. And as we continue on the whole thing of laughter and silliness, so Steph, what is the silliest thing that you've done recently to cheer yourself up?
Dana, this is like one of my favorite questions because a lot of people know me as this very serious person, but I have this very silly side that few people get to see. And so, one of the things that I almost do on the daily is I call my one son with all sorts of shenanigans. And one day I remember calling him after I spent an hour trying to figure out how to get Zoom to record on my phone. I was so excited when I got this phone because it's a Pixel and it can do all these amazing things. And I thought, surely there's a way to do this, but I couldn't figure it out. I asked Google, how do I do this? And I found out I couldn't do it because you can't do that on the free version of Zoom. So then I Google, how do I use my phone to record video or audio? I spent about 15 or 20 minutes trying to figure this out. And this happened totally by accident, but it really made me laugh once I realized what I was doing. I looked at my phone and I'm like, oh my goodness, the camera. That's what it's for. You use the camera to actually record record video and audio. I felt so ridiculous. And my son was just laughing. He's just like, Mother, you just got to stop this. You got to quit. So that's what I did. I mean, because during that moment when I was trying to figure it all out, I was really frustrated and, maybe got a little bit angry. And then it all ended in just laughter and silliness.
And you know what? Fun. People that work with you and who've been around you, you are hilarious.
We
you don't
know
even
that,
realize
right?
Yeah,
yes.
she's hilarious.
Yes.
So you can call Steph up and you'll get a laugh because she'll say something that will just make you bust out laughing. So we're grateful that you bring that to all of us that you come in contact with.
Thank you so much for that. Because other people who don't know me that well would never believe it. Like, no, she don't laugh.
We
Look,
know
you're laughing now. As she says that, she's laughing.
Right. We know the truth.
So, Steph, I love that. And, one of the things I did recently, and it just kind of goes back to what Nazreen was saying, is I found myself in Vermont enjoying the fall season, and I played in leaves, just a big pile of leaves. And how fun was that? But my next question is what color or sound can bring you joy? I know there's so many different sounds and colors that bring us joy. Like I love to hear a train whistle and children laughing, older people laughing. Well, just people laughing is fun. So Nazreen, what do you think about this one? Color or sound that brings you joy?
Oh yeah. I'd have to say that the color of joy for me would be as warm and inviting as the color of a sunflower, with tiny hints of orange kind of flowing through it. So kind of giving it that yellowish orange kind of glow that really brightens up my spirits, makes me feel happy. It makes me feel like it's just a beautiful, sunny, bright day. I can touch the sky. Possibilities are endless. It kind of radiates through my mind, body, and soul. And I really find joy in that. And as for joy as sound, for me, it's always a chirping of birds outside in the tree. I love listening to that because it makes me feel like alive. I like feeling like that because there's so much misery and gloom and doom around us these days. But just the sounds of the birds raises my spirits and makes me feel joyous, happy, and gives me energy. And that's important to me.
All of your birds have flown south of Nazreen.
I think so.
I've got your Canadian geese right now.
I'm sure you do, Sylvia, because they've been flying by my window quite a lot in this very nice V pattern heading south.
Dana, what color or sound do you love?
I like music, beautiful sounding music. And one of the colors that brings me joy is lime green, because it makes me think of warmer days, summer. It's reminiscent of popsicles. And when I see the lime green color, it makes me smile. So.
What popsicle was lime green?
Lime green.
Lime green.
Was there a lime green popsicle?
Yeah.
I think there was.
Well,
yeah.
Listen, y'all know I couldn't see very well then either.
Yeah, but think of key lime pie. You just think of it, things like that. So just the color lime green, it just, when I see somebody in it, it just makes me smile. I think, oh, they got lime green. They're being bold, and it's the color that makes me smile. So.
Is that close to mint green, Dana? I'm just wondering.
It's more vibrant.
It's a yellowish green.
Oh,
it's a yellowish green. Yeah, yeah.
Mint is more like a bluish type green.
Oh, yeah. That's correct.
I think orange makes me think of joy because it's just like bold too. Like you said, it's bold. Color is bold.
It is. But when you mentioned music, Dana, the first thing that came to me with the sound part of the question was the violin. I never appreciated the violin when I was young. But since losing my eyesight, when I'm listening to music, especially through my earpods, being able to differentiate each individual instrument within a song feels almost like a superpower to me. And whenever I can pick out the violin or the piano, it just feels magical.
That's beautiful.
Indeed. Music, it just brings a lot of peace, tranquility, and just kind of calming, depending on what music you're listening to. But I find that it can just be really peaceful and calming. It's a pleasant sound if you're listening to,
Absolutely, Dana. I have a go-to artist that when I'm feeling down or I want to have my self time, I'll listen to him. He no longer is here, but just listening to his songs gives me joy or just makes me connect with myself in a joyous way. And that's important to me. But if we're talking about instruments, I like the saxophone. That gives me a lot of joy.
I do too. Right now I'm thinking Kenny G.
Me too, right. Kenny G.
Well, Nazreen, you mentioned that this artist was your go-to. So I was wondering, Dana, do you have a go-to activity or memory that instantly makes you smile?
It could be a two-parter. So like music, happy music. One of my go-to activities for like just to escape is audiobook. I love getting lost in a book. Just as a
Mm-hmm.
great escape. So it is kind of like my go-to if there's a lot going on and I just want to shut off the world, is I just go to an audio book. It just brings me comfort. Tends to listen to things that are positive, encouraging, and then I like my mystery and detective, just to go on like an adventure and just get lost in a book.
So true. I love that. Same.
Ditto.
Well, I'm a bit different because I still miss reading print. So that they're still getting used to for me.
It takes time. Speaking of audiobooks, I was reading one recently and I don't know what it was, but one of the things that really struck me from the book was that someone was saying they'd gone through something really difficult and they're like, let's have a dance party. And they said literally that every time they're going through something and they need to have a day, a time of joy, is they just put on a music and they dance. And they don't care, like it doesn't have to be that they're a good
Who's watching?
dancing, just dancing, and it does make you feel happy. So I'm going to add that to my repertoire of things to give me some joy.
And it's exercise. Don't
It
forget that.
is.
Yeah, don't forget that.
That sounds like a lot of fun and a great way to release some stress as well.
Mm-hmm. Steph, we
Indeed.
might need a bold blind beauty dance party.
Ooh, sounds
Mm.
fun.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes.
It'll be
Yes.
cameras off though, okay? Cameras off.
Yeah. Have somebody to make sure that the cameras are off. Everybody's cameras
Yep.
off. You don't want that to come back.
I guess we're not that bold to have the cameras on, huh?
Nope. Nope. We want to be blind right there.
Good point.
So, Nazarene, what is one habit or mindset that you have incorporated to get you through difficult times?
That's a good question, Dana. For me, it's meditation through walks in nature and near, babbling brooks or a creek. I like to go and watch the wildlife and just stand there and just all kinds of thoughts and things go through my mind at that time as I meditate and connect with myself on a different levels and just kind of reset, regain my energy, find my resilience again, tune myself back into the space that I'm in and so that I can help myself to focus and to face the troubled times. Sometimes we have more on our plate than we know what to do with. And I think everybody is going through something right now, and I'm not unscathed either. So for me, that is my time to just reset, and I really enjoy doing that. I do as many of these nature walks as possible, and I find when I come back, I have a different, renewed attitude, a renewed sort of focus, and I'm able to handle adversities a lot better, and I don't feel so overwhelmed anymore. So that's what helps me.
Clearing your mind. It's just important. It's just a lot of things going on right now. And I just think it's just important for us to not focus in so much on what's going on in the news, or you gotta separate yourself from that. Be aware of what's going on, but don't get sucked in by it. And you have to focus on things that actually bring you peace, calm, and in stormy times. So it's good that you have a routine that you continuously try to keep in mind, to keep going.
It's funny, Dana, that you mentioned that. I literally have made myself a list so I can make myself do the things that give me peace. And I actually have been on a social media sabbatical. I found that I would wake up at 4 in the morning and be like checking Facebook. And I'm like, this is not good. And I have taken myself off social media. I've actually quit watching the news or even turning on the television. And I am finding that I don't need to know everything going on in the world, and it feels good to not do that. So we've talked about a lot of activities, things we can do that bring us joy, that bring up good memories. But Steph, how do you remind yourself to focus on the good when things feel a bit overwhelming?
One of the things that I did during this summer was I wrote out using my 2020 pens on post-it notes the word breathe. And
Mhm.
I put the post-it notes, one on my laptop, one on my bathroom mirror, and one on my nightstand, since I spent, time in those three areas different times during the day. The word breathe. And I would look at it throughout the day just to remember to breathe. It seems simple, but that would help me to refocus. The other thing I do, especially when I'm feeling very overwhelmed, is just stop. Just stop everything. Typically, when I do that, I'll simultaneously begin reflecting on past difficulties and how I made it through those difficulties and how I became the person that I am today through coming through those difficulties. As a single parent of three now grown adult young men, it was very difficult when they were growing up. I had very little resources to rely upon. And when I look back now, it's like, how did I even do that? Was I on autopilot or what? So today, when I'm going through those really, really tough moments and I stop, I remember to breathe. I do reflect on some of those past moments, those difficult moments, and how I made it through. And that helps me to, number one, ease the anxiety and then to refocus. But I think the most important thing for me is just to stop everything. And like you were saying, Sylvia, going on a social media sabbatical is so important. And it's like one of the first things I do when I'm really feeling it, when I'm in the thick of it. I have no problem just pulling myself away from that, from the noise of social media, so that I can take that time to refocus. That really helps me. How
You
about you?
remind me of the Winnie the Pooh quote, and I might not get it exactly right, but it says, "You're braver than you believe, smarter than you think, and stronger than you seem." And that really is about, you're talking about, you've built resilience. And that's what I've heard throughout this whole recording here is we've talked about that looking at our resilience, looking at our connections to others and how important those are, and just those things that finding joy in the daily things that we can, that those are the things that help us get through.
Definitely. And I know that quote. I can't remember the exact wording, but you got it.
Yeah, I've heard that before too. It's cute. It's right.
Yeah, I love it. And it's true. I'm hearing the breaks off of social media, things like that. You all know that I am not an active on Facebook, or I'm not on Instagram at all. So I always say my work may appear on social media, but I'm not on it. But I think when you have to tune that stuff out, I don't even know how people have time to keep up with all of that stuff that's going on there, because I look at social media as a tool. If I'm on it for a specific thing. And once I'm looking for it, I don't need the extra stuff. So I
You got to
feel
be on it for Bold Blind Beauty, though.
But that's really great, Sylvia, that you've kind of put boundaries around the social media and
Mhm.
and the time that you spend on it. And I think that's healthy.
Well, boundaries in our life, period, I think are how we can really reconnect with ourselves and reconnect with the people who really matter to us,
yep,
and our own peace and joy.
yep,
I think what it boils down to is self-care.
Yeah.
And in that regard, for us to be better people, we have to treat ourselves better. And that allows us to have the space to be better with others, being kind and remembering that other people are going through tough times. Maybe you go to the grocery store and the checkout person, maybe they're in a bad mood, but we don't know what they're going through. But remembering that we're all human, it helps.
And we can give joy to people with a smile or a joke or just a reminder that things get better.
A smile does go a long way.
Mhm.
I don't think people realize how much that can make a difference. It'll transform for those who can see a smile, but if you can hear it in somebody's voice, it just changes the whole attitude. And it's really about things happen to us in life that we may have little control over, but we do have control over how we react to things. So you just keep that in mind. Also, with the boundaries, to remove things that aren't so pleasant. And sometimes it goes with not engaging with toxic people. I'm very mindful of avoiding people that are toxic. And if I don't have to deal with them, it's only a short time, but don't linger. Or it's a not even a long handled spoon, it's more like a long yardstick.
In today's episode of Bold Blind Beauty on Air, we explored the theme of finding joy in challenging times. We talked about the importance of connection, shared uplifting stories, and explored practical tips for cultivating joy in our daily lives. From embracing simple pleasures like dancing and spending time in nature to setting healthy boundaries and practicing self-care, we discovered that finding joy is an ongoing journey of self-discovery and resilience. We learned that even in the face of adversity, we can cultivate joy by focusing on our strengths, nurturing meaningful relationships, and remembering that we are not alone in this journey. Finding joy in challenging times is a journey, not a destination. We hope today's conversation has provided you with some valuable tools and inspiration to navigate your own unique path. Thank you for tuning in to Bold Blind Beauty on Air. We encourage you to connect with us on Instagram for behind the scenes content and to join our growing community. Remember, you are not alone. Together, let's continue to advocate for access, inclusion, and representation. Stay bold, stay beautiful, stay connected.